You have 50,000 rupees
Okay.
in your pocket, nothing else. And you have to start a business now. What business you would start and why? And also, how would you allocate that 50,000 rupees?
I think I would sell fish. That's like the market in US is way different than the market in India. You think that you go to a store and buy, say, a microphone, right? For us, it's retail. There, what happens, the small businesses are in the forefront. Here, the supply chain is so chaotic that, say, let's say there's a manufacturer. Under him, there are wholesalers. Under him, there are distributors. From distributors goes to retailers. Retailers goes to small shop. Look at the hierarchy that is there. So what happens in the US is completely different, that whatever the small businesses is manufacturing or creating, they only sell it.
Directly goes to Walmart.
Exactly. So let's say it's proper B2C at that point of time. Here it's not like that.
Many barriers.
Exactly. It's
many things to
B2B2. It is B2D, D2B, B2R, R2C again.
God.
Amazing. It's super interesting to look at the chain, but it is super inefficient as well.
Like, give us a list of like top 5 most profitable SMEs in India one can build.
Okay. Oh, one can build, is it?
No, oh yeah, one can start. Or
I would say one of the things, anything F&B, food and beverages,
Okay.
anything that you want to do, packaged foods. It's booming right now at this point of time because everybody wants, like ID, for example, what we spoke about. Make anything packaged, it's going to work out, but have a bigger shelf life. That's your innovation at that point of time. So
this guy is highly obsessed about SMEs. I don't know what he sees in them. So let's find out from himself. So what are SMEs and what could fall under an SME?
got it. So there are 3 types of industries, specifically 4 types of industries.
Okay.
There are micro industries, there are small scale industries, there are medium scale industries, and there are large industries. This is what falls under the ambit. Now, the criteria is that for a micro business, your annual turnover should be less than 50 lakhs. For a small scale, it is less than 5 crores. For a medium scale, it is less than 50 crores. And anything above 50 crores of annual turnover is termed as a large scale enterprise. So these people form the backbone of the industrial revolution in India. And these are huge. You can find them everywhere. Probably
So what
go
are
out to
these
the store.
businesses look like?
It can be anything. So the setups can be completely different. Either you have an industry, like where there's production happening, processing happening, or anything of that sort, right? Or it can be a consultation business, a services business. So technically, whatever startups is a Gen Z term, right? It came in probably like late millennial stages, right? And it was termed, but a startup is not a legally bound term. Nobody defines what a startup is. Probably now it's coming up saying that you should be incorporated less than 10 years and your annual turnover should be less than 50 lakhs or something like that. That's a new term that is coming, but it's not legally.
It's not based on the number of revenue. It's based on the time of incorporation
as well.
Incorporation,
Exactly,
right? Yeah.
right? Now it's coming up. But before that, whatever we started off is a micro enterprise. Eventually we become small, medium, large. But right now it's more focused towards industries, very specifically. Food related industries, FMCG related, toothpaste, bottles, microphones,
Plastics.
anything and everything that is manufactured is what would come under the MSMEs.
So how important exactly are the SMEs to Indian economy?
To be very specific,
Just give us the numbers if you know the numbers.
So in 2021, they contributed around 28% to India's economy, India's overall GDP. I think right now it's 31%.
Wow, okay.
That's a huge
Agriculture
number.
is supposed to be the, okay.
It comes into it.
Okay.
It's a part of it, right?
Part of it, okay.
So even when we say that agriculture is the backbone, that's an MSME in a whole.
Yeah.
Right? So right now, I think last financial year it was around 31.5%. So that's a huge number, man. I don't think startups in India are contributing so much at this point. And that's a huge number. And the number keeps on growing. Every day they're keeping on growing. But they're also declining as well. That is one thing. The older ones are declining. The newer ones are also declining. But the ones that have stood strong in the industry are really growing at this point. So
Nice.
there's so much. There's probably I think there are around, like very specifically, if I have to talk, there might be 1 million industries in Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 million.
Hey guys, if you like our content and if you would like to support us, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Is that the only reason why you're obsessed with SMEs? Or
No, I think, okay, this is one exercise that we actually did. And that was, I went into these industries. So I never was the guy who would sit on a Google Meet with an
you
industry
saw the
owner.
ground reality?
I saw the ground reality. So I was at around 4 to 5 industries before we started as well for 15 days straight. I should do up and down to Karkala every day. Go to the industry at 9 a.m. in the morning. When they close at 5:30, I used to come back. 15 days straight. Went into
What did you
different.
observe?
I saw people. I saw people doing their own thing. So I used to have lunch with them. I used to have breakfast with them. And they are very humble people, okay? Very, very humble people. Rural areas, very specifically. So if you head to this place called Bailur, it's in the middle of Karkala and Udupi. It's somewhere there. Very remote location. And these are the places that I used to go for these industries. And I used to spend time with these people, understanding what they do on a daily basis, how their life looks like. And these are very nice people. Like, I wouldn't expect such a behavior in an urban area for sure. Like, I've never seen anybody so sweet to me in Mangalore or Bangalore. They're very nice, very simple people. They get their work done, but very hardworking. Very, very hardworking.
So another thing I observed in SMEs in India. So the problem I see, I mean, this is just a simple observation that they don't grow bigger on or scale faster like in the US. In the US, you see, like you call it American dream, right? You you like launch a start. I mean, like small business, and it grows bigger in 5 years. Like it employs so many people, and it gets international.
Right.
Like that's what is missing in India. Like there are very few, like MDH or Haldirams. Haldirams is a good
Right.
example.
Exactly.
Like
Correct.
how it started small and grew bigger, and everybody loves the product. It's international now.
Right.
So my question is, why are there few Haldirams in India? So where do you think is the bottleneck?
Got it. There are 3 reasons primarily.
Okay.
Okay. One is the resources that the MSMEs are provided in India are negligible
Like what resources?
for them to grow.
Mhm.
Now, it can be access to funding,
Okay.
it can be access to credit, it can be access to, say, infrastructure.
Correct.
Like, for example, for us, we are privileged in that sense. We have an office space that is given to us. We have mentors. We get in consultants, advisors, and we have all the help that we need.
True.
Right? Like, for example, if you have to record this podcast right now, we have the studio that is given to us to be able to. The MSMEs of India don't have that today. They are longing for loans and credit. They are longing for infrastructure. They are longing for,
Mentorship.
some policies to be put in place that is going to help them. Of course, there's a most interesting thing called Udyam. It's called Udyam registration.
Okay.
So MSMEs who are Udyam registered get access to benefits. There's a lot of benefits. They have tax exemptions. They have better access to credit at that point of time. But barely 14 to 16% of MSMEs in India, 26% of MSMEs in India are Udyam registered. But what about the rest? 34% that is currently there. They are not having access to anything. Like, we are privileged like that. That's the first one. That access to resources. That's first. And primarily access to infrastructure is what I would say. The second one is the mindset of the people. Okay. That's like the market in US is way different than the market in India. You think that you go to a store and buy, say, a microphone, right? For us, it's retail. There, what happens, the small businesses are in the forefront. Here, the supply chain is so chaotic that, let's say there's a manufacturer. Under him, there are wholesalers. Under him, there are distributors. From distributors goes to retailers. Retailers goes to small shop. Look at the hierarchy that is there. So what happens? In the US, is completely different that whatever the small businesses is manufacturing or creating, they only sell it.
Directly goes to Walmart.
Exactly. So let's say it's proper B2C at that point of time. Here it's not like that.
Many barriers.
Exactly. It's
Many
B
things to
to B to
disrupt.
it is B to D, D to B, B to R, R to C again.
God.
Amazing. It's super interesting to look at the chain, but it is super inefficient as well. So that's why the market is something that,
Great observation, actually.
exactly, right? So the mindset of the people, it never understands. Like now my things might be changing with a lot policies coming in or UPI coming in and things like that, right? Like phone pay merchant, Paytm merchant and things. So that's a good way to tell that you're directly buying from the merchant itself. But people don't usually know that where exactly are they getting it from. That is one more thing. That's the mindset of the people. And third one is the market. Now, whatever we call as small business. So we don't have things in India like per se, for example. In the US, it's a good thing. Like if you make brownies, it's a huge small business, right? If you make mueslis, it's a huge small business. Like Quackers and all started off like that itself. Here in India, there is no trends that are being set. That is one thing that I've realized. Like there's nobody, like one of the people who set a trend very recently, it's this company called ID. They make ready-made idli batter and dosa batter. Amazing.
Yeah,
Nobody
I like the
thought.
vadas though.
Exactly.
Innovation in vada.
Exactly. So these are companies that are setting trends right now and people will start following it. But it takes a long time for them. I think the ID took 6 years or something to get into the Indian market. And it takes a lot of time. So now they are the trendsetters. And for in the MSMEs industry in India, it's very hard to set a trend. Like for example, if right now today, if I'm talking about cashews, like if you are eating cashews, either it is salted, roasted or anything, right? It will take a while if somebody wants to do caramel cashews. It will take years for them to come up with caramel cashews and for people to accept it. Because as Indians, we don't try new things. We are not so enthused about trying new things. So the market also remains stagnant and nobody grows at that point of time. So that would be probably the 3 primary reasons why is it happening.
So, do you think are there any other challenges or problems SMEs in India face?
Access to credit.
Access to credit is a big
Access
one.
to credit, access to digital infrastructure. Biggest problems that is currently there. Everything, every work that the MSMEs are doing today, super inefficient, super manual.
Inefficiency. That's
Inefficiency is at its peak in the MSMEs. That's what I said, right?
Yeah.
Startups are privileged. We have everything that we need access to. What do you want? You want to do a survey. What do MSMEs if they want to do a survey? They go to every household and get. What we do, Google Forms.
True.
For a survey.
Survey monkey.
Exact. Survey monkey.
Yeah.
MailChimp. Anything at that point. So for the MSMEs, anything that you have to do, it's
trial and error.
Exactly. How do we hire? LinkedIn. Do they have access to LinkedIn? No. That's the entire catch over there. So they are restricted with everything that a startup needs to grow. Market access, nil. Hiring access, nil. Growth access, nil. Credit access, nil. So
market research, nil.
Exactly. So how do you expect to grow? And we were trying this thing where, we were trying to tap into some sectors that are, this was way before anything started off, right? And we wanted to do market research. That's it. We were like, can we get the data of all the MSMEs that are there, right? Split them, put it into an Excel sheet, make a pivot table, understand which district has which industries, right? Like if Dakshina Kannada is really good at fisheries, one known thing. But what about like Bijapur? Like nobody knows about it. But the ultimate catch is there is no list at all. That is the most difficult. There's no data only. You talk about any state in India, there is no data at all. You don't know how many MSMEs are there only. Like if you go to...
Census is missing.
Exactly. So if you go to Bangalore, you go to, say, Pina, you very specifically, Pina industrial area you go. They might say that, there are around 1,000 industries that are there in the Pina industrial area. Wrong. There are 10,000 industries in Pina industrial area.
Wow, what are you saying?
Exactly.
Wow, you've been there?
Yes. Very, very tiny. Same businesses, maybe very similar. Some can be very huge production levels and so on. Some are very small. maybe aluminium sheets or anything of that sort. But probably there are more than 10,000 over there. And it's keeping on growing every day.
Wow.
That's the beauty of it. But that's the sad part of it as well, that you don't know. There is nothing constructive at a data level that is there for you to be able to interpret what exactly is happening. So even if you have to give intelligence to any given company, this is one sector you cannot build intelligence at all. Like Google says, or anybody like Facebook has so many data points about you and me to decide what our next move is going to be. For me to even decide what is their next move to gonna be in the next 2 minutes, I do not have data. So the things are changing. Of course, I will not disagree on that point. Things are definitely changing on the credit side, on the infrastructure side, but it's going to take a long time. For you to be able to tap into every MSME in India, it's going to take you probably a century.
Do you have any suggestion for the government or policymakers on, helping SMEs to not just survive or thrive, but also, scale?
I think one of the things that is very much necessary is if there is a policy that is that is supposed to be put in place, it shouldn't be a generic policy. You cannot put a policy for the entire of India and then say it will work. Every district's use case are different. Every state's use case is different. And you cannot say that, I will bring this change in the country and this is the policy that it's going to be. No, you cannot do that. For Karnataka, it has to be different. For Dakshina Kannada, it has to be different.
All industries to be different.
Exactly.
Right?
Because every industry is different. See, Dakshina Kannada is good in fisheries, right? You go to Udupi, they are good at cashews. You go to, say, Bangalore, they are good at maybe plastics or anything of that sort. It's a growing industry. But the way these industries work differ from industry to industry. Maybe even if it's a plastic industry and you have two industries side by side, the industry A performs way better or way different than the industry B. So there is no standard plan that is actually going to help the MSMEs of India. You have to do so much ground research at that point of time. And somebody has to start.
Good idea, actually. Any other things?
The second thing is, I think this is something that is happening right now with the entire UPI thing coming in. I think it's one of the biggest revolutions that has ever happened at a global economy level as well.
True.
Okay. It has helped a lot of small businesses. That is one thing that I will say.
Like, how do you think UPI helped small businesses?
One is bank's traditional system of transactions are not anymore there, right? You get faster access to payments. That is one thing. Like, you don't have to wait for 7 days for a check to get, dispersed or the money to get dispersed. Real time, super fast. There can be, of course, everything has its, fallbacks at that point of time. But you were saying something. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just interrupting you. Like, I forgot those issues because of the UPI.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point, right? And
things have changed.
Things have really changed.
Yeah.
And all small merchants, like, they're doing amazing with the aid of UPI. Like, that is one amazing thing that has happened. And there's a lot of things that are coming over UPI again that is going to help a lot of industries.
So, I have a thought exercise for you.
Okay.
So, here's a task. Suppose, you're not running your startup. Okay. You have 50,000 rupees in your pocket, nothing else. And you have to start a business now. What business you would start and why? And also, how would you allocate that 50,000 rupees?
I think I would sell fish.
Why?
I mean, it's probably a known fact that the fisheries industry here, at least in the coastal areas, it's worth crores every day. Crores of transactions that are happening every day. And because of the supply chain that I just spoke about, it's so complicated. I can make a lot of money.
Okay, exactly how?
Okay, let's say that I want to be the middleman in the fisheries industry. I don't want to invest in boats. I don't want to open retail stores, but I will be a broker. Okay, I'll be a fisheries broker very specifically. So let's say in that 50,000 rupees, I buy fish worth of 35,000
Any
rupees.
fish or specific fish?
Depends. Let's say that, I think right now, like for example, Anjal is a good example, right? Makes enough money. Like for example, baby sharks. Sharks are Mori is what you call it, right? Really can make you a lot of profits at that point of time. So let's say I pick Anjal, right? I'll invest 35,000 rupees in Anjal, only buying, not even buying Anjal at that point of time. I will do one thing. I will go and talk to the boat owner who fishes Anjal in the morning, and I will go and talk to a couple of buyers in Bangalore per se. Okay. Now, understand the demand and supply over here.
Yeah.
There, you don't get good fish at all. Okay. And it is almost at the point saying that one is I don't have access to fresh fish in Bangalore, and everybody's longing for fresh fish. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy, say, 35,000 rupees worth of Anjal. Let's say one Anjal costs you 1,000 rupees. Okay. Somehow I negotiate it and I buy it for, say, 800 rupees. But I will go to this buyer that is there in Bangalore and I will tell him that I will give you fresh fish in 24 hours. Okay. But I will charge you 1,800 rupees for it per fish. Now, what I'm going to do next, the remaining 15,000, I'm going to invest in a good logistics company who is going to deliver the fish in a proper freezed container and at the fastest time possible so it reaches fresh to them. So, what is going to happen? I just have to invest that 15,000 rupees, buy it for 35,000 rupees. I've probably doubled my money at that point of time.
Nice.
And I will take the same money, do it every day. So by the time, even if it's an ideal case scenario, you're making like 40% margin, you're pretty good to go. That's 400 rupees for every 1,000 rupees that you are, sorry, that's, whatever. You're
Keeps
earning.
on compounding later.
Exactly. So you invest 1,000, you get back 1,400 rupees.
Nice. What do you think are in your opinion, like give us a list of like top 5 most profitable SMEs in India one can build?
Okay. Oh, one can build, is it?
No, oh yeah, one can start. Or
I would say one of the things, anything F&B, food and beverages,
okay,
anything that you want to do, packaged foods. It's booming right now at this point of time because everybody wants, like ID, for example, what we spoke about. Make anything packaged, it's going to work out, but have a bigger shelf life. That's your innovation at that point of time. So if you have heard about there's a company called Who Fresh in Bangalore.
okay,
They got into Shark Tank India season 2, got like a crore or something like that.
What do they make?
They make puja flowers.
Okay.
It's a sentimental thing, right? Puja flowers. But what they did, they made the most innovative product. Their product was not the flowers. Their product was the packaging, which increased the shelf life of flowers from 3 days to 15 days. It's just the packaging that is there.
Simple things.
Simple things. And right now they are all over. Like they are on Swiggy, Instamart, anything that you want to be able to. And they are in major metropolitan cities with Big Basket. Everybody, they are out there. Packaged anything is going to work out. First one. Second one, I think fisheries. Anything coastal related areas. Because they are less and they are restricted to a particular place. So everybody else who don't have access to it want it. So anything that is selling in the coastal areas is a really nice business to start. Fisheries. You can do cashews. You can do areca nuts. That's an amazing business to kind of get into. But you should know how the supply chain should work, right? And one of the things that you can also do is start an logistics company, but primarily deal with these people who are building like cashews, fisheries, right? Do logistics for them, but export it to abroad. Export it to any other country. You're going to make tons of money at that point. If that is the goal, right? Just that. If you are the only logistics provider that is there who can do the best export of fisheries in the world, who's not going to opt? You can charge your price at that point of time because you know that fresh fish is going to get delivered in the best quality
so you're
that is
fish
there.
obsessed.
Exactly. And not fish obsessed. I'm.
You saw the reality.
I've seen the reality.
Numbers.
Exactly.
So now let's talk about Effinity, your startup. So I know you started Effinity keeping SME in mind. Like what was the exactly problem statement when you started Affinity?
Got it. I think so. this started in January of 2022, very specifically. So we were a part of this program called Inunity. It stands for Innovation for Community. Uh, uh, yeah, you guys just had the biggest marketing pitch for you. But but so what the program technically did was bring students, industry mentors, and community stakeholders together onto a single platform. Made these students go through a 6-month long experiential program. Okay, so what would happen is the community stakeholder would give you a problem statement to work on, and as students, you work along with the industry mentors to come up with the solution for that particular thing. So my community stakeholder that we happened to choose was an MSME owner, and he didn't tell us anything. He did not even give a problem statement. He's like, "You come visit my industry," and that's where my sprint of being in industries began.
That introduced you
To the world of
industries.
MSMEs completely. So 15 days we were there, specifically in Karkala. We spent time.
What was the
there.
industry?
It's a cashew industry.
Cashew industry.
That's been my food. I think you can probably realize by the number of times I told cashews. I'm obsessed with them at this point. So we happened to go to their industries and we were like, let's see what is going to happen. And there were 3 main problems that we saw primarily. One, manual work. I mean, you can't help it. That is one thing. Because that's what I told, right? If there's a policy that has been in place, you'll have to serve for every use case, which means that for a fisheries or a cashew industry, very specifically, you'll have to do a very specific implementation plan. So right now, there is no innovation that is happening in the cashew industry space. There's no machinery that is there that can process cashews. There are certain machines that gets the job done, but there's nothing super innovative that is there. That is one thing. So super manual work. So second one is because it was manual, a lot of errors happen, random errors, human errors that can happen based on calculations, based on stock control, based on managing where exactly what is happening, because there's no accountability at all. So at one point of time, if like say a gunny bag of cashews goes missing, nobody knows where it is. So there's no proper tracking that is there. And the third one is the time that is involved, because everything was getting inputted on pen and paper. And then you take that data from the pen and paper, put it into an Excel.
Inefficient.
Inefficient. And what has happened was when we were visiting these industries, we realized that people misinterpret the numbers. A 4 becomes
Human
5, 4 becomes 5, 5 becomes 6. And when we were actually making a calculation of the stock control, there were 2000 kg difference. That's cashew nuts. That's super expensive, man. I'm like, wait a minute. Then we realized they interpreted the numbers wrong. Somebody replaced 4 with 5.
Okay.
They read it as 5. They entered 5. And super inefficient as well, right? Like right now, if an industry in India has to become like a private limited company, I think every month they're supposed to give their stock control reports to the bank for access to credit and loans.
Yeah.
What happens, because it is so inefficient, they get delayed. The report generation gets delayed.
True.
Okay. When the report generation gets delayed, you get delayed from the finance that you're getting. That's what it is.
You observed a market gap there.
How?
Big one.
Exactly.
And a big room for impact.
Exactly. That's like more like a productivity gap that we wanted to fill at that point of time.
Actually, as you said, productivity gap. If you close this thing, I think it will be a big economic boost for India.
Exactly.
Not just for like businesses. Because yeah, we say productivity. So what exactly is productivity is nothing but output to a given input.
That's it.
Right. So the world's economy is all about, getting the more output from a limited input. So the countries are poor. If you look at the tropical countries,
right,
they're poor not because they work, less. They work hard. They work harder than any countries in the world.
Correct.
Indonesia, Bangladesh, many other countries, they work harder. But it's not about hard work. It's about productivity.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So yeah.
It's like aapke kaam ka phal kya hai?
Yeah.
That's it.
So good job actually. Then what happened later?
I think and then we started understanding before even building anything, right? We were like, what is everybody else doing was a very interesting question for us. Like
Mm-hmm.
MSMEs, everybody knows is the problem. The government has been talking about it for so long right now. And then we were like, what are people building for the MSMEs? And there are a lot of companies that are doing really well at this point. Like for example, Khata Book. Khata Book is an amazing example of a startup that is helping MSMEs through the accounting side of it. Zoho is doing really well
Okay.
because they brought in the cheapest of products and gave it an access to the MSMEs. So it's super simple to use as well.
People use it?
How people do
Okay.
use it. I mean, I would say I have a thing not completely against Zoho, but because their revenue share or the market they are tapping is predominantly in the US, you cannot pose yourself as an Indian empowering company.
Okay.
That is one thing. That is something that I am not completely a fan of, is what I would say. But there are a few more companies that are doing a really amazing job with respect to empowering these MSMEs. But again, we then realize that same thing. One generic solution or a product will never serve the use cases of the MSMEs.
That's a good observation.
Okay. So, for example, ERPs, as what we call it, right? The enterprise resource planning systems have been in the game for way long. SAP does ERPs, Oracle does ERPs. And we were like, okay, why don't you use ERPs? Super simple, right? Like
For SMEs.
MSMEs, right? Why is it that you cannot invest in an ERP? And then we try to understand how much does it cost. SAP's implementation cost, if it's a customized software, costs you around 4 crores.
What? Okay.
Okay, 4 crores. Now, what usually happens, if that's not 4 crores is just for implementation, then you will have to hire a team who's going to use
Manage
the
that ERP.
and in case the man quits, where did you invest the money for? It's all gone into the drain at that point of time. And that's that gap we found. So people like Zoho, Khata Book, they are doing inventory.
Yeah.
They're doing on the sales side.
Accounting.
Exactly. Everything is getting covered. But the backbone of any MSME is the manufacturing process itself. Okay. So whatever input is coming to the industry, output is going as sales. What is happening in between? So whenever we went into these industries, we realized the pain points are not inventory solutions. The pain points are not sales solutions or CRM or marketing tools. The solution should be able to keep track of the production processes that are happening. And that is something nobody does. Why? Because it is different from one industry to the other. So until and unless you're a company like TCS or SAP, who have enough workforce to build customized softwares but charge so much, nobody is going to be able to empower the MSMEs at all.
Because the secret is in the specialization.
Exactly.
Personalization
completely. So what we did, we started out understanding, we picked a couple of sectors. So we had picked 6 sectors. So cashews, fisheries, plastic, rubber, paper, and I think there's one more I missed.
Glass.
No, this is something very specific to India. But whatever, you get the context, right? And what we technically did was we set up a market research team and went into like 15 industries from every sector. And from understanding their production processes and so on, we then made a common set of things or common set of processes that happen and made like a Venn diagram out of it. This is industry. Process A is common for everywhere. Process B is common. Process C, maybe 70% industries it is common. Maybe a little different, right? And we made a common model for every sector. So for cashews, there was an Affinity model of production for cashews specifically. For plastic, we made a model. And that's how we started building ERPs, which are sector specific and use case specific. So we made ERP specifically for the cashew industry. We made ERP specifically for the plastic industry. So what would happen right now? If I happen to approach, I wouldn't be approaching, say, a paper company as a ERP company. I would tell them I am a paper ERP company.
Wow.
That was our pitch.
But that's very difficult to personalize.
For sure.
It takes a lot of depth understanding
Exactly.
of the individual market as well as the software itself.
Correct.
Right. Nice. So that is the journey of Affinity.
Yeah, I think it has evolved over time. That was the initial thing that we
Initial
kind
stage,
of yeah, exactly. We were like, okay,
So
let's
how have
build.
you guys evolved from there?
I think one of the things was the personalization factor, right? Simple example. So we were charging MSMEs around 3.5 lakhs for
Installation.
like the implementation charge, customization charge, and then we used to charge them around 1 lakh on an annual basis as subscription.
Maintenance. Okay.
Exactly. So that it run as a SaaS model technically. Then we realized that per implementation, being a small team, we were taking 3 months, and that 3 months we were burning 3.5 lakhs. So we were not doing any losses, we were not doing any profits, but it was just going exactly break even technically. But then we were like, how can we improve this? So what we are doing right now at an evolving stage is we are building a low code tool by ourselves to be able to build customized solutions. So the implementation that usually took 3 months would now take 15 days per industry implementation.
After adapting to low code
tools. Yes. So we are building a low code tool all by ourselves to be able to build customized ERPs or customized products for the MSMEs specifically.
Wow.
Which would still suffice the use case specific, sector specific, but our implementation times are now faster.
So any industries are in the using your software right now?
Yeah, there are a few industries, I can't name them or anything.
But it's active, it's running.
But it's running.
Nice.
It's running. Yes.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yes,
by
thanks.
the way.
Thanks. Thanks.
And what are you guys presently concentrating on in Affinity?
The new wave of I think commerce.
Okay.
It's called ONDC. Okay. This stands for Open Network for Digital Commerce.
So I have heard about ONDC.
Okay.
But I just know that people say it is an UPI for online commerce.
That's it.
Nothing more I know about it.
Okay.
So tell me about ONDC.
Got it. I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you're selling a sofa. Okay. And if you have to sell this sofa, you'll probably go to Amazon or Flipkart in order to sell this sofa. And you are restricted to the platform that you're selling it into. So let's say that I put it on Amazon.
Okay.
You have to bear the burden of 30-40% deduction charges from Amazon. That is one. And you're restricted to Amazon itself. But you also get played by the bigger players who might be selling sofas.
Yeah.
And they have better reviews, lot of orders. So they probably come on top of the search engine at that point.
Correct.
What open network technically does, let's say you're selling this sofa and you upload it into platform A. Okay. What the beauty of open network is, now it will be active in every other application on the internet. So if, let's say Amazon and Flipkart comes into picture, right? If I happen to sell on Meesho, for example, if I just upload my sofa on Meesho, it'll get posted on Amazon, it'll get posted on Flipkart, it will get posted on Shopclue, Snapdeal, any other platform. That is the beauty of open network.
I mean, you can choose which one to which not to, right?
Yes. That's something that you can do. And that's the beauty of it, right? So you're getting sales from everywhere possible, irrespective of which platform that you're in. So the beauty, because one of the first players that came into ONDC was Paytm. Okay. So let's say that now I build an application on ONDC where I am selling charmburi.
Okay.
Charmuri
is boiled rice. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to sell charmburi from Mangalore, which is a delicacy here. Now, the beauty of ONDC makes it sure that anybody sitting in the northern part of India will be able to get charmburi on their feed on Paytm. I mean, that's just an example. Of course, it's logistic. If you think realistically, it'll go all moist, right? But think of it. Like if, let's say, tender coconuts. You want to buy tender coconuts from Mangalore or some, say, Udupi or anything, right? You'll be able to have that through any given platform at this point of time.
There is a geographical tag.
Yes. So any person, and this is the biggest empowerment that is going to happen for the MSMEs, because now you're not restricted to the platform fees. That is one thing. You're not restricted to the platform itself. And you are, and it is giving you a way to broaden your customer base or your audience, not customer base, your audience, so that the entire of India will be able to now look at the products that you are selling. And hopefully, a lot of micro enterprises will get empowered like that. Is what the plan of the
Okay.
open network is.
Don't you think there should be a digital literacy for the small and medium scale business? Not small, I would say, yeah, micro and small businesses to understand what ONDC and how to use it. I
Yeah.
mean, if there is like, a book, ONDC, if that person can't read that book, there's no use of that book, right?
For
So
sure.
what do you think about the digital literacy gap?
I think, see, the ONDC in a way. So ONDC has something called as network participants. Okay, the network participants are people who are building applications on ONDC.
So you are network participant.
I'm one of the network participants. Okay, I mean Affinity is
Affinity is
a
the
network
network
participant.
participant.
So there are a lot of, like, Paytm is one network participant. So now what Paytm should be doing is bridging the literacy gap that is there. The efforts are not by the government anymore. The efforts are by the people.
There is any reward for the network participants?
I mean, you get to see the transactions because it's an open network.
You guys get the data. And
Exactly. That is open, right? So because the data is open, that's a resource. That's a treasure for you at that point of
Got
time.
it.
But now every other network participant's focus is going to be bridging that literacy gap. Because if per se, let's say, simple example. So there's a Paytm store. PhonePe introduced something called as PIN code, which is active in Bangalore and a couple more cities at this point of time. Now these people will fight, because I have to get the biggest customer bases over here. Because for them it's transactions, right? Platform fee will come over there. So that is what it is. So now if both have to get good amount of transactions, they will have to now work on fixing the literacy gap. So this is going to be super consumer focused at this point. Again, it's going to evolve that way.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think the problem is not consumers. Actually, if you look at it, everybody's online today.
Consumer is always right.
Yeah.
They say,
Exactly,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
See, they are
Economics
there.
is always true. Yeah.
Exactly. See, consumers are online. Everybody knows what e-commerce is. People are buying from e-commerce. People are doing Zomato, Swiggy. Fair enough. The main important challenge is going to be onboarding these merchants. That's the bigger challenge. That is something nobody has been able to solve till date. And I don't know how long is it going to take. I mean, that's something that we are trying to solve as well. But that's a serious challenge right now. Because there is the entire population of India, probably like majority population of India, online, sitting on Facebook, on Amazon, on Flipkart. There are consumers, but there are no products. There are no sellers that are actually selling. Like, let's say that, for example, I know the startup called Praful Agro. Okay, they are buddies of mine. They are in the same batch of Sayadri. They make mushrooms out of agricultural waste. Okay, now ONDC should be able to empower them come online. If you're able to do that, there'll be nothing like it. That is the catch over there. So, can I sell Praful Agro's mushrooms all over India where there are no mushrooms at all? That's the catch. And that's a serious challenge right now. Because again, going back to the first point we raised, there is no data of how many industries are currently there.
True. Now, if people onboard to NDC, data will be available, right?
Yes. And that's the beauty of it. So the efforts have to actually go into onboarding more sellers, not onboarding buyers. There are enough applications that are there. You don't have to build a new application.
Would ONDC like right now it sounds B2C, can it be B2B?
Yes.
Like if the seller, if the industry is aluminum foils,
Right.
so like they do in masses. So this is just for another industry,
Fair.
another business client. So is that,
Yes.
does ONDC stands well in B2B transactions as well?
Yeah. So ONDC gives you a set of APIs.
Okay.
That's what it gives you. Okay. It gives you a set of APIs, which are open APIs, where everybody has a common API request that kind of goes in. And the latest version, I think it's called version 2.1, just started with B2B use cases. So anything B2B. So it is open for anybody. Retailers, distributors, wholesalers, manufacturers, anything.
Got it. So what is the present traction? And when did India introduce ONDC exactly?
I think this is probably 9-10 months back.
Okay, pretty recent.
Yeah.
So what is the traction of for now?
As any other industry trend that has come, everybody is jumping into building buyer or seller applications
on ONDC. Okay.
But nobody realizes. I mean, there's a good amount of traction. Everybody's building applications.
They want to be the phone pay on UPI.
Exactly. Okay. They want to be the fastest and the first players to get into ONDC. That is one thing. But they are not putting efforts into places that they are supposed to actually put efforts into. Because think about it. You have the most solid architecture on Paytm to do anything, right from UPI transactions to buying things and so on. Why do you need so many more applications again?
Yeah, that's what.
It doesn't make sense at all at that point of time. Like, first of all, you will spend so much engineering time in order to make sure the platform is optimized. And if by any chance there's one bug, okay, and because it's a new application, let's say, we both are prone like that. Let's say that today Signal came, right, as an alternative to WhatsApp. Or let's say Threads came as an alternative to Twitter, right? Because of the experience of Thread, if one experience is bad, you will in 2 seconds go back to Twitter and you'll never come back to Threads. And it's in the same way, right? These apps will take years to get optimized for a good user experience, right? And one wrong support, let's say your return is not done or your delivery is only not done. Some guy ran away with your order. You'll go back to Zomato.
This is what I call engineering redundancy.
Exactly. well put out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, wasting their time.
Exactly.
And they could look for other problems.
Exactly. So the main effort should be onboarding people, onboarding sellers, onboarding these merchants. These are your value providers in the ONDC network. That is the entire point. So it will never be that it will be the consumer who's going to run the industry again. It's going to be the merchants who run the industry again. And that is where the efforts are supposed to be in. So building buyer and seller applications is not the way to go forward.
So what are you building on top of ONDC specifically?
Got it. That's... Okay, I'll just give you an idea about what we're trying to... I think this probably goes back to our conversations as well, where every district has their own specific use cases. Every industry has their specific use cases. And in order to cater to these varying use cases, we are building on a district distributed economy model, which means that we will be...
Could you repeat?
District distributed economy. Okay. What this technically means that we will be making an implementation model specific to every district that is there, starting with the heart from where we are, Dakshina Kannada. And we are starting something called as ODK. It stands for Open Dakshina Kannada.
Wow. Okay.
Nice. So the Open Dakshina Kannada is going to be a platform or a medium where if you're a resident or if you're in Dakshina Kannada, and if you want to do anything at all, right from movies, right from buying anything, going anywhere, you should be able to do it through this medium. It's going to be like a super application for Dakshina Kannada, where anything and everything that you want to do in this district should come from this application. And we are doing something on the lines of buy, sell, move. So you will be able to buy anything, sell anything, move anywhere you want to in Dakshina Kannada with this particular platform. And we are trying to now replicate it in different districts. So if this model works here, of course, it's going to be a different model in a different district. So we are starting out with Dakshina Kannada right now, then moving on to different districts later on. So right now, the first phase of ODK is going to be onboarding the fisheries sellers specifically. So we are working with the Malpe Fish Association right now to actually onboard boat owners who are going to directly make B2B transactions of fishes all over India.
Brilliant.
Which means that I am only solving one problem.
Oh, that can actually keep the market prices right.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you have many buyers,
Exactly.
then the price will be right.
Exactly. And we are also getting rid of the middlemen that are currently there, which are basically
Yeah.
the monopolying.
Feeding on the revenue from
Exactly,
the.
right? So now what we are trying to build is not an e-commerce application. What we are doing right now, it's a service that we are doing right now. Onboard these boat owners onto ONDC. Help them update their catalogs of what fish is there on a daily basis. Make it open. Which means now, if you are on Paytm and you go to the Paytm store, you'll be able to see Ramesh Anna's Anjal fish from Malpe coming to, say, North India.
So every information will be there.
Yes. That's what we are trying to do right now. Starting with the fisheries industry very specifically.
How hard it is to do that?
Super hard. Yeah. Because I think that's what we spoke about, like the literacy gap that is there. Yeah, as Indians, we are prone to, we kind of want to see immediate value, but the only time you're going to see value in a platform like ONDC is when you invest time into it. Like you will have to keep updating your catalogs every day. And that's why we'll have a team set up specific. So the fishermen don't have to do anything on that. So we'll be having a team set up in Malpe who will take the details and update the catalog on a daily basis so that they get transactions and so on. So what we are trying to do is not try to onboard more consumers onto our platform. But what we are trying to do is onboard more sellers onto our platform because the audience is there.
True. Another thing is, I mean, this is such a big goal for ONDC.
Yeah.
And keeping that in mind, it takes a solid engineering protocol to back this such a ambitious goal. So, do you know anything about technical specification about the protocol of ONDC?
Right. I think I can give you a very basic idea about it.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a participating entity called Beckon. So Beckon was the
what? Beckon.
Beckon. BECKN.
Okay.
It's called the Beckon protocol.
Okay.
The folks at Beckon were the first people to actually come up with a distributed open protocol layer.
It was open sourced as well.
Yes,
right?
it was open source completely. Okay. So what these people wanted to be able to do, and they gave a sense of a system architecture that would tell how does the protocol layer function if you want to build an open network. And what ONDC did on top of the backend protocol, they built these APIs. Okay. So what would happen is that there is a protocol that has been made standard. So you'll have to follow it, whatever it is, by Beckon. Okay. And then use ONDC's APIs to build your applications. So it has to follow these protocols. If not, you cannot be a part of ONDC.
So if anybody is building on top of ONDC, they have to be proficient or understand backend protocol.
Yes, because they have to build with Beckon itself. So that's the entire protocol there. So there's a protocol stack. There is an API stack that you have to use.
Got it. So haven't you faced any problems building on this protocol?
I think as I think we are not privileged like that. That's where the differentiation part comes in.
Okay.
Understanding protocols, especially at such a complex level, is not something that some fresher could do, or even I could do at this point of time. So it took possibly me. I still don't understand the entire thing of how exactly does it work and so on, to be able to even tell it to you, for example, right? But people who are well funded can hire resources, exactly, good team. They can have access to good teams that can build on this. So one of the biggest things that we're facing right now is, what do we do? APIs are there, but if you have to get access to the APIs, you have to build a protocol stack first, which is way more complicated than I ever thought it was. Because working with APIs is easy. It's a get push request. It's pretty straightforward, but we're not with a protocol stack. And I've never worked with a protocol stack. And there is a decent amount of documentation that Beckon has given, that ONDC has also given with respect to the protocol and APIs and so on. But at a implementation level, it's still complicated. And I'm pretty sure that any bootstrap startup or out of college startups are going to face the exact same thing if you don't have that level of technical expertise. That is one thing. Probably the only thing on the implementation side, which is a huge barrier to be able to build on ONDC.
Saying that, uh, like many people, I mean, many engineering teams can build, or many startups can build on top of ONDC because it's the open platform. So in that case, how would you differentiate your product from your like competition in the same segment?
Got it. Okay, so we aren't building products. We are not. We realize that there are enough products out there.
Okay.
And it's technically building another e-commerce platform, which I don't want to do. There are so many better players out there, and I commend them for what they have built to today. I am giving a service that just onboards these sellers. My main intention is just that right now, at least for the next 1.5 years, because that's the serious challenge. And that's, even if I have to talk in money terms, that's where the money is. The beauty of ONDC will only come when more sellers are onboarded, not when a few big sellers are onboarded. That will never work. The volume of the sellers is what matters on the open network right now. And our mission is to enable these businesses to use the power of ONDC.
Spread the knowledge.
Exactly. So at an onboarding phase, we will have to build a platform, but I won't build an e-commerce platform.
Then how you guys would think of making revenue on this?
So let's say that I want to be, what we are planning with ODK is to be able to build businesses tools that will simplify their transaction processes. So one of the most interesting things that we are building right now is an entire support ecosystem on WhatsApp. So let's say that you are running an e-commerce platform and you hire so many people just to wear headphones and sit on a call center, just receiving customer angry calls or anything of that sort. Now, let's say that there are 3 layers of support that is involved. First is your activation layer, where somebody approaches you saying that, somebody approaches you saying that my order has been misplaced. First order. That's your activation part. Then you have to engage now with the customer. And then if third comes, it's escalation. If they are super angry, they are like just like cussing and things like that on the call, right? Now, usually what happens, if it's a company like Infosys, they have that money to be able to hire thousands of support folks who are going to sit on calls every day. What we are doing right now is building an LLM model that will actually reduce the amount of operational costs involved in the support ecosystem and in natural language.
Are you guys using Lambda by Facebook or something?
Yes.
Wow, yes.
I shouldn't have said that, but yeah.
I can cut it. Do you want me to cut
No,
it?
it's okay, I guess. Yeah. So what we are doing right now is building a support ecosystem on WhatsApp. So let's say that, somebody is having a transaction, some issue has been raised. First of all, I don't have to build an extra chat bot because WhatsApp architecture is super strong. What I just have to do is provide it a service provider, make it go through either. So we have a choice between OpenAI and Lambda right now. So what we are doing is it just takes the message, translates it, sends it back. So technically it will be very human-like, thinking that you are actually talking to, like, say, Rekha from the customer support team. Rekha is my mom's name, but yeah. That will be a reference. So the language should be like that, but it is also going to be in natural language. So rather than bringing your people on voice calls in the second layer of support, bring them during escalations. I'm okay with that, but don't hire more people. So which means that now if I'm able to run an LLM model that is going to help it, enable it on WhatsApp, I'm going to save businesses a lot of money on support.
How are you guys planning to measure impact when you guys scale up? Like, what are the key metrics that you're really concerned about?
Right. So I think, of course, as somebody building on e-commerce or retail per se, one of the major metrics at a business level is, of course, number of transactions, number of, the amount of revenue that we are dealing with, how much are we charging them on the, per transaction fee or anything of that sort. Now, this is going to be huge. So the plan at a business level is to have as many transactions. So because we are dealing with fisheries, can we have at least 40% of Malpay-based fisheries transactions happening through our platform? That is the first goal. That's like major thing per sector. That is what we are planning for. But on the other hand, I think I don't have a specific number, but I think in the next say 5 years, I want to be able to onboard 25,000 small businesses onto the open network.
Wow.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the biggest metric for me, or for Affinity as well. That's where the real impact is going to be as well. Because the more you onboard these people, the more transactions happen. And it goes, your business metrics will anyway get met if these metrics are met.
Got it.
So for us, it is about not about the outcomes, but about the impact that we're creating on these businesses, small businesses. I mean, it might sound like a very philosophical thing that I'm talking about, but I think at this point, with everything that has happened since the last 1.5 years of being able to build Affinity, right? One thing that I've realized is I am tired of running to running for money. But when I see people, so when we were building ERPs, I have seen people using these products and be able to be super efficient. And that's that energy,
Joy.
that excitement of being able to see, they're like, wow, what a product. Yeah, that's what I
Seeing
want to
value
exactly
in real time.
Real time. That's what we're trying for. That's what we are aiming for.
That's
right now.
beautiful. So your strategy will always be district specific.
That's the plan, because I think that's how we are going to cater a lot of businesses. That is one thing, and that is actually going to help us do a lot of groundwork, which is required at this point of
Very
time.
much.
So if you are doing a digital marketing strategy to onboard these businesses, it's not going to work. You'll have to personally go to them and talk to them, build a rapport, build a trust with them, and then come back. That's how you're going to create impact. And districts are a good way to start with. Cities might be a bit small because Bangalore is a huge city, so it takes a lot of time. Mangalore is a smaller city, might take less time. But districts are almost constant, so it kind of helps.
You know what? You owe me one thing. If you're going for funding in the in the future, you did not share the pitch deck or something. You can share this podcast
I
link to
swear.
your investors.
Yeah, let's do this.
And if investors have any other questions than this, then
they can, exactly. Guys, I'm dropping my email on the comment section.
The posting is
just make sure that I'm here. Yeah.
And anyways, guys, we are running out of time. So as part of plan, we plan to we covered student entrepreneurship and SMEs, small and medium scale businesses in India, but we are not able to cover design for now. But we will bring back Shobith to talk exclusively on design, and that's gonna be super duper fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, thanks Shobith for showing up, and you have been amazing. There's a lot of wisdom and knowledge. I think I've gained a lot from you today.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
likewise. Yeah, had a good time. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe. Thank you.